Are you ready to learn and experience the process of becoming a Medicare machine?
Let's try that. Maybe you can hear me now. I've been talking about myself and to myself, I guess, for about 5 minutes. But thank you for letting me know, Joey and Joe. At least I know somebody's watching that way when I get a comment. But I'm talking about development. So what you want to, what I just got back from was a training for 2 days, and anytime that I go into a training and I put myself usually in a room with people that are trying to level up to, usually in a room with people that are hitting on high levels, top 1% type of fellas and ladies. And that's the kind of rooms I like to be in because I come out of there shut out like a cannon, like I am today, ready to do some stuff. And so development, personal development of your systems and processes, development of your back end customer service, development of automations, development of drip marketing, development of your Facebook marketing, development of it. You should be in a state of constant development if you want to be and stay top 1%. Top 1% is I want to say it's easy to get to once. It's a lot of work and a lot of dedication and a lot of things have to line up. However, the top 1% to stay there consistently, stay motivated, stay in the pocket, requires you to keep finding holes. So you've got to be in a constant state of analysis of yourself, of your systems, of your processes. How quickly are you answering the phone? How many calls a day are hitting voicemail? How many calls a day are going inbound and outbound? What's the traffic look like? Are you hiring enough staff to go ahead of the flow? Like, anybody ever driven on a highway where you say, I wish they would have added 3 lanes, and by the time they build 3 lanes, you wish they would have built 3 more? You got to stay ahead of those kind of curves and anticipate what kind of adjustments that you're going to make. And the only way you can do that is if you have numbers. The only way you can do that is if you're keeping track of it. The only way you can do that is if you have a good system and you have a good funnel. So like for me in the last, I've probably made more progress in development of my systems and processes in the last, yeah, right, that's right. Every highway in Texas, as far as I'm concerned, Joe. The systems and processes that are involved, it's amazing what happens when you focus on that and you really develop and you really lean in. But I've spent a lot of time in the last 2 months leaning into Go Guru, which is the CRM I'm using now. And I've almost got it up and running to a point of where it's efficient and effective of taking my funnel of activity that I'm generating from multiple sources and cultivating that activity where the agents that I'm hiring have high intent, high quality activity, basically trying to duplicate somebody else that's doing it at a level of success that I want to achieve. And so when I find out somebody else is doing something on the level that I wanted to go to a new level that you can achieve, it's just a different ball game. But if you're not doing automations, if you're not using AI, if you're not doing multiple channel marketing, multiple source, the Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. I mean, there's so many places that you can target depending on what you're trying to target for. But if you're not running multiple initiatives and if you're not leveraging AI to fill gaps for you, you're going to be left behind. That's all I can say. Like the top 1% gap between the pack and the top 1% is going to start widening even more. And you're going to start to hear people do numbers that you didn't think were possible because of the efficiency and effectiveness of something like automations and the combination of AI coming into the fold. You're either using it or it's being used against you. And frankly, now that I've fully started to grasp the full breadth and power of it, if I were a new agent starting today, you have such a distinct, and it's like that rah rah rah. I know I'm being a boomer on the box. Like, yeah, I get it. I'm on my soapbox. I'm the old guy, and I had to walk uphill both ways to school in the snow and all that good stuff. Which, ironically, there was uphill both ways for me when I went to school because I had to walk to the top of the hill and then back down the hill. But I digress. So that being said, looking for opportunities to upgrade your development personally. Can I read a book? Can I listen to something? Can I plug into a podcast? Can I go to a training? Can I go to a carrier rep rollout? Can I go to a carrier rep training and start getting FaceTime with my carrier reps and building my relationships? Yeah, no, the power of automations, like the lazy, when I came into the business, my mentor told me there's 2 things about every insurance agent you'll start to learn. They're lazy and they're creatures of habit. And here's what I'll tell you. If you stay lazy and a creature of habit, people that take advantage and pivot and take advantage of AI and technology and automations and everything else are going to leave you in the dust. And you'll get basically automated out of the industry, and AI will take the lazy agent's job. But those that are able to innovate, those that are able to figure out a way to create and keep the human experience while leveraging technology and acknowledging that it's here to stay. Start using it, but the language that you choose, don't say I'm using AI. Tell people you have a robot. There's a way cooler way and way better language that you can start to use, and finding ways to be inquisitive in your questioning, curious, be in a fashion of curiosity like a child. So when instead of saying, what's your doctor? Tell me about your doctor, and use tone and inflection and use spacing. What I mean by that, stop and take a breath once in a while, and you'll be surprised how the other party starts to talk more. I have a bad habit of that, and I've been working on it, of over talking and talking my way into it where they're like, geez, shut up. Let me have a minute to say something on my end, and you don't ever want to get to that imbalance in the process. In fact, you want there to be an imbalance while you're developing a relationship. You want the imbalance to be where they're doing the talking. You're asking the questions. But if you just ask robotic yes or no questions, you're not building a relationship. You're taking a survey. And nobody likes the person with the clipboard outside the grocery store trying to take a survey or trying to get you to sign a petition. So don't do that style of fact finding. Do an interactive, concierge, full service, inquisitive, questioning. Like, don't go into the pitch, go into the process of finding out what the problem is, finding out where the point of pain is, and moving to a position where instead of having to fight upstream working leads, you have people coming downstream to you, and you're using automations and other things to filter the stream to which fish you want to keep and which fish you don't. You can see by how people respond to the automations and interact and do things. And there's the power of it's pretty mind-boggling for sure. And so, if you're not developing your process, your systems, your marketing materials, to take opportunities to upgrade the look of things, change color schemes, not of your logo, but of your branding and your marketing materials. Keep things fresh so that it looks like you're in constant development. People like to work with companies that are in constant development to stay ahead of the curve, to stay ahead and be advanced. And so the best part of this business, in my opinion, is very few places you'll find an opportunity that allows you to focus on others while focusing on yourself, while being able to give back to your community. It's like this and this win situation when you allow yourself to take it seriously. And if you're listening to this podcast, the only reason you listen to this is to find out what to do, what to think, to get yourself from where you are to a new level. So there's all I can say is every time I plug into stuff, one of the biggest values is the energy that I get from putting myself in a room of people that are thinking forward, that are trying to level up, trying to grow. It's such a contagious spirit. That I just can't understate the value of doing stuff like that. So I encourage you, where in your area there's stuff going on, you should start plugging into stuff that interests you or levels you up. Like for me, I'm starting to think like, how can I, because I'm not a social creature, right? So that's a weakness of mine, only in the sense of it could be a strength of recruiting if that wasn't a weakness. And so I have to figure out how to leverage. And for me, putting on a uniform, putting on basically assuming a role or identity in my mind is how I empower myself to do the things that I don't like or don't want to do, or maybe things that I feel like I'm not good at. It gives myself psychologically an opportunity to pivot and find a way to do things that I wouldn't normally try to accomplish. An example would be, I have a whole bunch, I don't even know how many at this point, of people that are Koreans that only speak Korean. And the only reason I got that opportunity was because I had the guts when somebody sent back a lead card and all they wrote on there was Korean, instead of just trying to find someone else that could speak Korean, I figured out a way to use translators and Google Translate on my phone and all these things to get an appointment, schedule the appointment. And when I got to the appointment, I used the technology to communicate. And that's the forward, innovative type of thinking that led to this day where it's dozens and dozens of people that have come from that one relationship that I took the chance to create with people that I didn't speak the same language of, but the computers were able to connect us in that way. That was 5-6 years ago. That was my own AI, right? I leveraged technology to put myself in an advantaged position to do things I wouldn't normally be able to do, which is communicate with someone in a different language. That's the power of AI. You can just talk to it like it's your assistant, but it doesn't get tired. It doesn't get mad. It doesn't get annoyed. Like the only time it gets annoyed is if you try to get it to do like emotions, right? And so, but the point is that the leveling up factor that happens when you're constantly evolving and you're constantly focused on development, and not just development of anything, like development of stuff. Like start with your strengths, develop your strengths into superpowers first if you're able to. Like niching out and focusing on your strengths can be one of the most impactful things to your development that you can do. But once you've done that, once you've really honed in and fine-tuned your strengths, then you can start to look at some of your weaknesses to start to do crazy other modifications to other things that you're doing to help yourself level up in ways and at speeds that most people think is not possible. And the only reason that happens is because most people are lazy creatures of habit. Like most of your competition is a lazy creature of habit. And so it's really easy to take advantage of lazy creatures of habit. You just figure out what the creature's habits are and just outwork them a little bit at their own game or modify yours to take advantage of their weaknesses. What are they not doing? Start doing stuff of value that they're not doing. If they're like, as an example, if someone's just a transactional salesperson, but they're really good at making the sale, that's effective. But you can also take a route where you're more educational up front. And instead of a sales position, you're taking an education position first. And both of them are effective. Just both of them have different levels of back-end retention rates and crossover rates for cross-sells and crossover rates for referrals and other things. And you can choose volume with quality. You can go quality. You can go volume. You can do both. You can do none. Like a lot of agents are really good at doing nothing because they're lazy creatures of habit. And so you just got to start to understand, where are my strengths? Where are my weaknesses? Which habits do I have that are good? Which habits do I have that are bad? What can I reset? Because habits are simply controllable behaviors of yours that you've created comfort for yourself with, which, by the way, your growth mostly happens outside the comfort zone. So that's why it's important to know what is my comfort zone, so I can start to make modifications to what I'm doing to take myself outside the comfort zone, because I know that's the only way I'm going to grow. And whatever that is for you, it is what it is for you. But if you don't write it down, if you don't acknowledge it, if you don't start taking steps, the first step of the journey, right, is the first step. And the first step is often the hardest one, because now once we take on the first step, now we have responsibility to keep momentum in our mind, right? There's pressure to keep momentum. And so hardest is the first step. But in my opinion, what I see for most people that end up stuck not taking the first step is because they don't know what direction to take the step in. They don't know what step to take and where to take it. But the important thing to understand is it doesn't matter. It's the momentum that you get from taking the first step that creates the wave of momentum that takes you closer to the answer. Because most of us on a journey, we find out relatively quickly whether we're going the right way or not. I mean, sometimes not, right? Sometimes you go the wrong way for a while. When I was 18, I was trying to move back home. I went to Oklahoma City and I was there for 2 weeks. That's all I lasted. And then I was driving home in the middle of the night. And when I got to I-70 in Kansas and Wichita, I was so used to driving east on I-70 that's what I did. And I think I got about 2 hours towards Kansas City before I realized that I don't think I'm going the right direction. Like this doesn't make sense. I don't think I'm going. This is back in 99. So this is before everyone had a GPS in their pocket. But the point is, you can go the wrong direction, but going the wrong direction is actually taking you closer to the right direction than going nowhere. So doing nothing, taking no action, taking no first step, guarantees that you're not going to get top 1%. But if you want to be in the top 1%, if you want to be a machine, if you want to have discipline, if you want to unlock the ability to get your time back and do what you want, when you want, how you want, and call the shots and have flexibility and adaptability and agility in what you're doing, not have to drum to the beat of what somebody else is beating. That's the beauty of what I think the top 1% offers you. If you like fortune and glory, it offers you fortune and glory. If you like recognition, you can get recognition. If you like money, you can make money. If you just want to help people, you can help a lot of people. If your purpose and mission is charity, nothing offers more charity than your ability to get the top 1% of whatever industry that you're in. And the only way you do that is by leveling yourself up, because again, lazy creatures of habit, which is not just what most insurance agents are, that's what most humans are. So if you can just get yourself outside of that lazy creature of habit zone and or set your habits into doing not lazy things, that's simply the 1 degree of separation that is all that's needed for you to really start leveling up and separating yourself from your peers, taking yourself to new levels, taking advantage of opportunities. It's a beautiful process, and I'm hopeful that at least one person out there takes one thing that I jabber before I stop breathing, and they use it to level themselves up, because the starting point that I started with, if I think back to like age 18, man, it's a miracle. It's a miracle that I'm alive, and it's a miracle that things happen the way they did. And it's a blessing from God that I'm thankful for all the time. But if you're not in that process development, if you're not taking automations, like the automations I'm working on right now are in-force automations. So one thing that's very time consuming that I don't want to cut the corner on is in-force appointments with my clients after their policy starts. But as the book of business that you have gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and as the demands of the daily calls and everything else get bigger and bigger and bigger, that backside becomes tougher and tougher and tougher to accomplish. So for me, now I'm trying to automate as much as I can. There's some people you can't automate. That's okay. You still give them the handhold and the personal attention, but a lot of people are okay with the automation side, and you can automate customer service and retention. You just got to build in touch points. And so frequency touch points, it's not mine. I got this from Humana. I don't know where the hell they got it from, but in essence, you want to touch your client on day 1 of the policy, day 4 of the policy, or day 3. You pick. I like day 4. Day 30, day 60, day 90. And then from there, at least once a quarter. As far as like an active outreach, phone call, text, that kind of thing. But really, the more times you touch them, the better. Now, what I can say is majority of my clients, we had to go through the process recently of sending out in essence, I send out a message to say you need to opt in if you want to keep receiving text messages. And I don't know, it's probably 99% of my clients said yes. A handful of them said stop. But they didn't like fire me as an agent. Just some people prefer not to have automations. No problem. We can put them on DND for no automations, no text messages, no emails, etc. But when you're able to start automating processes that are time consuming for you, what that does is now you're buying your time back through automation. Sometimes you can buy your time back with money, but you can also buy your time back with efficiency. With taking a phone call that normally takes you an hour, how can I get it down to 50 minutes? How can I get it down to 55 minutes? How can I get from there? How can I get down to 45 minutes? It can keep compressing the time with efficiency. Where's the fat? Where can I trim off? And you'll eventually find where the efficiency point is, where you maximize your time. When you maximize your time, you maximize your efficiency. When you maximize your time and your efficiency, you then can maximize your production. And that's the only way to get to the top 1%. You have to maximize your production in ways that other people don't, so you can do levels of production that they can't because they mismanage their time. That's it. But if someone really, if it's like a reality TV show and everybody got to walk around with me for a month or two or longer, most of you would be surprised at how I'm effective. I get away with a lot of stuff that most don't. And so it's not one of those things. Let's see. Thanks for all your content. What's up, Joey? I've been diving in the last few years. The boot camp, good. To log off for an appointment. Happening within Guru High Level and those funnels. Yeah, all the automations. I'm in a process of migration and integration before I shut off all the other stuff. But Go Guru for me is going to replace, I think, about 6 different systems that cost me about $10,000 a year to do. And so it combines everything into one. But yeah, having everything in one point is advantageous for me. It's advantageous for my staff. It's advantageous for the LOAs I'm about to recruit. I'm about to blow it up with a bunch of people, and you're going to see a bunch of people on my team start crushing it with cool numbers. And I can't wait to share that stuff. But yeah, all the stuff that I'm doing is through High Level, because I also use DFY from Eric Fierro for my coaching stuff, for like the Medicare Machine Factory and for all that. And so I have 2 different ones, both through Go High Level. So they function the same. They just look different, different kinds of cars, if you will. But yeah, the automations, the delegations, those 2 things alone are what enable you to reach levels that normally aren't thought of as possible. So that's what I really focus on. And if you're not good at automations, you need to find someone who is, that you can either partner with, that your upline, talk to your upline, see if they have a resource you can use, or holler at your boy. We are taking on new folks to help. If you are a broker looking for a home, we are looking for people to work with. And yeah, I'm excited to focus on helping others level up now for a while. I'm still going to keep producing and helping people directly. I enjoy it too much, and I'm too good at it, too efficient. But yeah, a lot of my focus is now going to be rolling out. Let's see. Had to add about 800 leads from Extend. Needs to change. Yeah, Joey, reach out to me, brother. Let's set up a Zoom, and I'll show you some ropes on how you can automate some stuff and integrate where I don't know where are you generating your leads from? Let's start there. Are they from Facebook? Are they from YouTube? Are they from where are you buying leads from someone else? How are you generating, when you say 800 leads in Excel, where did those come from? If you're still there. Wackety. We'll see if he answers. But yeah, so the automations, you can automate the front side of the process. You can automate the back side of the process. What you want to do is basically automate everything except for building the relationship and writing the application. Those are the only 2 things that need to be manual. Outside of that, you can do most stuff. Although I think the follow-ups would be a combination. Thanks a ton. Wisconsin, the financial advisor just retired. All about mid-sup. Yeah, I mean, something like that you can drop into automations for sure. And I know DFY has quite a catalog of automations. There might be something in there that you can just tweak a little bit and send them a dry drip or a slow drip. There's a few tactics that I would take. Like for me, if I had a med sup list that was 800 deep, I would door knock those. But yeah, I would door knock a med sup list. and try to do some mid-sup rewrites and see if there's a pivot there. Rocking and rolling. All right. So, yeah, one of the best things to do when you're creating automations is or being the automation. So, in the processes and systems that you're doing, or the computer's doing, or the et cetera, be an inquisitive, curious, childlike position. So when you're talking to ChatGPT, have it write questions from a childlike, curious position, and be curious in how you're doing your questioning. Change your tone and inflection so that it matches curiosity. Like, tell me about that. Not tell me about that. Tell me about that. And showing that interest, making eye contact, smiling, all that good stuff to create that connection. And even if, and this is one thing I told my son today, if you in your office don't have a mirror that's on your, like a little pocket mirror on your desk so that you can see what your face looks like while you're talking on the phone, you should. So if you do phone work of any kind, keep a mirror with you so you can keep control of what your face looks like, because what your face looks like is what your voice is going to sound like. So if you look pissed off, you're going to sound pissed off. If you look happy, you're going to sound happy. And so just make sure that you're controlling that by seeing what you look like, so that you go, oh crap, I got resting bitch face, which happens to me all the time. You're able to go, oh my, hi, focus on smiling. Who cares if you look like a psychopath? Just smile anyway. Most other people don't know what your psychopath smile looks like anyway. So just smile like a psychopath and everything's fine, right? But you got to learn to push through those points of discomfort to find the points of comfort, right? To find the honey hole, the bear has to go through the beehive and get stung. But it's worth getting stung a little bit. It's good. It's worth getting your nose bloody. It's worth being told no. The more times you get told no, the more excited you should get, because you should know you're getting closer to a yes. The only time you don't get closer to a yes is when you're not asking. And when you're not asking, you're not getting told no. So if you're not getting told no all the time, I'm telling you right now, you're not working hard enough. You're not working enough. If you don't get told a lot, that you should take a floater, if you don't get hung up on a lot, you're just not working. Either not working leads, or you have some kind of cushy position where you're being fed activity, and being fed activity is very different than generating your own activity. And so you can do both. You can do both. In fact, that's really what my mission now is pivoting to generating activity for a team of people, rather than myself, which has kind of been a fun excursion. But I can tell you, through automations, through being inquisitive, through plugging into resources that I have been able to, I'm generating hundreds, we're approaching thousands of leads a month at a cost that's crazy efficient. It's crazy efficient. So efficient that I only have to close like 1 out of 500 leads to be profitable, which, I don't know. I think a duck with a note on its neck could sell 1 policy if you flew it around to enough houses. So the agents that tell me they don't have activity, the agents that I see that don't produce, simply, when I really look at the numbers, if I really sat down with you, if I really shadowed you all day long, every day, you wouldn't be as productive as you think you are. You're probably not doing as much. You're probably not working as hard as you could, or as smart as you could, to be efficient with the use of your time, which is, there should be a 90-10 ratio. 90% of your time during the working hours should be spent doing a money-making activity. 90%. 10% for going to the bathroom, 10% of the time going to lunch, take your break, whatever it is, check your Facebook, whatever. 10% of the day. Okay. 2.4 hours. If you're talking about 24 hours, but if you're talking about your 8-hour day, okay, how much time you get? Okay. So, but focus on 90% of the time, making sure that you keep yourself productive, you keep yourself doing things, you keep yourself pushed in outside your comfort zone, right? Going new places, shaking new people's hands, knocking on new doors will introduce you to new relationships. New relationships, if you do cultivate them and develop them, will lead to more activity, more referrals, more friends. And the more friends and family and clients that you have, the more referrals you should get. And if you're not getting referrals, the only reason is you're not talking about it enough. People don't know what you do. And specifically, they don't know what problems you solve. Because insurance agent doesn't sound like it solves any problems. It sounds like it creates problems. So that's not how you should talk about yourself. You're not an insurance agent. You are a problem solver. But what problems do you solve? Are you solving people avoiding from passing the hat when someone dies, protecting their family from having to cover the funeral expenses or the cremation expenses, etc.? Covering the mortgage? What points of pain are you solving? Are you helping people avoid having to change their doctor when they don't want to? I took a call about that earlier today, where even though we did our due diligence, even though we checked the networks and all that, after the first year, after someone made a policy change specifically to keep a certain doctor, the doctor's now gone out of network. It's now it's a process of pivoting and adapting, right? And so that's the key to it all is really finding a purpose, finding a way to give back to people. How can I help be more efficient with my time so I can help more people? The more people I help, the more money I can make, the more people I can help, the more referrals I'll get, the more people I protect, the more it's just the win, 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 win just keeps going if you keep pushing. So yeah, that's my advice for today. I'm coming out again of a meeting and a conference, being in a room full of people that just make you want to level up. And so that's how you know you're either in the right spot or you're not. And that's really a challenge if you're an independent broker in the field and you don't have an office, you don't have a team, you don't have that culture to bubble you up every day. And if you run your own office, remember, you control your own culture. You lead. You get to choose how things are decorated. You get to choose the color of the furniture. You get to choose how things work, where the break room is, all those things. You get to control a lot of that. And so whether you have a staff of 1 and you're a solopreneur, or whether you have a staff of 20, you be cognizant of all that. Because if everyone's pushing in the same direction, you're much more effective than if everyone's just riding along and a couple of people are pushing in the direction, right? So that's it for today. About 50 minutes. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. We're going to get a lot more stuff going here. I'm going to start getting some new guests on coming up. Really excited to get what I'm going to start doing is inviting as many people as I can that have been to a boot camp, that have been to a training, that have had really good levels of success, and kind of go through and figure out what made it. What was it? What do they apply? What do they integrate? Because in essence, it's never the whole thing. It's always each person that I talk to that has levels of success. They're like, oh, I integrated this or I integrated that. It's not, I did the whole thing. I take that back. Once in a while, I get someone that integrates the whole thing. But the level of productivity should go up. And so keep watching, keep tuning in. And I promise to keep teaching you things that I know that help you be more effective, whatever sales environment you're in. Because sales, whether it's high pressure or not, you can take a high pressure sales scenario like car sales and turn it into a non-pressure educational experience, and you can change the experience. And in fact, that's the best thing to do. Find out what everybody else is doing and figure out, how can I make my process, how can I make my system look, feel, smell, taste, and be different than what everybody else is doing in a good way? How can I make it refreshing and new? How can I make people go, wow, that was a great experience? I would like to talk to people about how I had a great experience. And so that's what I would focus on. Focus on your system, focus on your processes, focus on yourself and leveling yourself up. And that's really should be the first thing. Work on you first. the rest of the stuff will come on the back end, because when you're working on you, you'll start to put yourself in rooms with people that will give you the tips and tricks to advance you faster. And you'll start to learn some of this stuff faster if you just start showing up at things. I promise. So anyways, have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next Wednesday, right around 12:30. If you know me, I'm never going to be exactly on time, but I'll always do my best. Have a great day, and I'll see you then.